Hello, I'm Vicki Lohr with Modern Jewelry Creators. Thank you for joining me today. I am so excited to be sharing with you today 5 brand new collections of crystal palettes that I've just made, and also showing you the many ways you can use them in your jewelry designs. So that is coming up in just a second. But if we are just meeting, again, my name is Vicki Lohr. I have been in the jewelry making industry for decades now. I used to have a big, beautiful retail bead store, and now we are 100% online. So through this channel, I am able to share all my different jewelry making tips, techniques, ideas, new designs, all on modern cold connection jewelry making and how you can get the same gorgeous jewelry for yourself at home. So if that sounds like fun, and it's so much fun, I hope you'll consider subscribing, liking the video, leaving a comment, all the things. I'll link below our website, Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff. I'd love to have you be a part of this community. So with that, I'm going to talk about our new crystal collections and kind of what that means. So about 10 years ago, I started making mixed bead palettes, colored palettes, using gemstones, because I would travel to India to buy beautiful gemstones. So I would use gemstones and freshwater pearls and crystals to make these gorgeous palettes, because I was teaching my students how to kind of move from making necklaces following a pattern versus doing more of a random kind of organic stringing. And so I would make the mixed bead palettes so that they wouldn't have to think about that part. They wouldn't have to think about the color and what beads to use. So I made up little mixes and put them in jars, and they were called Pro Palettes. And here's just a sample from one. And then I would make this 6-strand necklace to kind of show the color story. This was called Garden Paradise. And one jar was 100 grams of, again, gemstones, pearls, crystals that were like between 6 and 10 millimeters in size. And I think the jars retail for like $35 for they varied all the time. But this is one jar. This would make up one jar, and I'm going to explain that in just a sec. So they were really fun. And making up this sample was kind of the best way to show the color story, but you could do whatever you wanted with the palette, of course. But about 5 years ago or so, the trends in jewelry, like the scale of jewelry, started getting smaller. And so I transitioned the palettes from those larger beads into smaller ones, and just using the same idea, gemstones and freshwater pearls and crystals, but just in a smaller scale, and calling them precious palettes. And so they were between like 3 millimeter and 6 millimeter. Here's one of them. This is our Southwest Romance. Right here's one that I just made up with a little dangle bracelet. Whoops. So it's just the same idea, but the beads are just smaller. Right, here's another one. This is our Caribbean Ocean or something. So just smaller gemstones, freshwater pearls, and crystals, again, to make up a beautiful color story, but just smaller, on the smaller scale. And I still make those. I came out with 6 new ones earlier this year, and I have new ones coming for the holiday, so I'll continue to make those. But another thing that I did when I was making the larger jars is I would create kind of a booster pack of crystals that were just meant to be the accent beads. So they were Chinese rondelle crystals in like 3 and 4 millimeter, mixed in like 2 or 3 of the main colors that would go with the palette. And so that's how you would get so much mileage out of one jar, is using those that little booster pack of accent crystals, and that gets you more strands. And so this new palette is along that idea, but more elevated, a little more expanded and advanced. So my new crystal collection palettes look like this little bag. Here is one of them. I'm going to go through all the colors. It's hard to see right there. But instead of just one kind of crystal and one shape, these now have a mix of Swarovski crystals in bicones and rounds, check fire polished crystals and Chinese rondelles, bicones, rounds, all from 2 millimeters up to about 5 millimeters in a ton of different finishes. And now there's so many shapes and sizes that there's so much more dimension to them that they kind of now can stand up on their own as a beautiful palette. So I've used them a lot. I keep little mixes of these crystal palettes in my jewelry designs, and I'll use them whenever I need a little cluster or a little mix to throw here and there. And I've thought for a long time about making those available on the website so people have them when they need them, when they just need to add a little dangle off a clasp or an off an earring on top of a pendant, and they only want it mixed with the right colors. So I have 4 colors that are kind of more neutrals or basics that I want to try to carry all the time, and then also a at least one or 2 limited edition seasonal ones. So I'm going to show you all those palettes here in just a second, and along with samples and the way that I'm using them. Sorry, I'm trying to move some stuff around here. Okay. So what I did is, like I said, they're come like this in a little package because it's kind of hard to see it all. I'm going to tip the camera down soon. But then it comes with like a larger Ziploc so that you can keep it in a more secure packaging. And then some of the kits will come with little trays so you can keep it organized. And what I have done is I've strung an entire bag or package so that you can see the color mix a little bit better. So I think what I'm going to do is tip the camera down and show you the different color mixes quickly, and then I'll show you the different designs and different ways to use them. And so we'll go through them real quick. So I'm going to tip the camera down. Now I set the camera a little higher today than I normally do on the recommendation from my son. Okay, so here's our first one in our pinks. Gosh, I'm trying to get the light better. Let me turn this light a little bit, see if that helps at all. So this is in our pinks, and there are pictures on the website as well. This is our Opal Roses is the palette, and it's just soft pinks, muted plums, beautiful deep kind of lilacs, and just a really soft, beautiful palette that I would consider more of a pink story, I guess, of beautiful kind of pastels and things that you could use. Then our next one is our lilac palette. Gosh, I can't think of what that's called for a second. But she is a mix of deep blues, again, soft violets, lilacs, sky blues, opals, metallics, just a lot of really beautiful colors to make a lovely blue story of crystals. And these strands that I've strung, this is an entire package that I'll talk about in a little bit. But again, I've strung up the package so you could see the color story a little bit better than when you just look at a bag of it or a bowl of it, I should say. Then here's the next one. This is our champagne and cashmere. And she is a gorgeous mix of kind of light honey colors and deep kind of cognac and just really beautiful bronze and just beautiful golden shimmers. And even when I was making this, I'm like, I have to have a lovely warm kind of brown champagne-y palette. I knew that, but boy, I really love how this turned out. There's so many great shapes that I just think it turned out so elegant and beautiful. And then the same with our last one. This is Smoke and Mirrors, and much more than like a black and white palette. It's not even really white. These are more frosted opals, but it's also lovely jet in metallics and mattes, along with many shades of beautiful smoky grays, deep grays, and opals. Just, it's a lovely palette. It's really unlike any other kind of black palette I've done before. I was surprised at how, I don't know, how much I can play with it to make it a little different. So it's just a gorgeous mix. So those are the four like basic ones or kind of neutrals that I want to carry all the time. And then this is the one for fall that's called Fall Fantasy. Oh, she's so pretty. And this has beautiful deep olives and a lovely like cool deep orange color, and then a bright magenta and muted rose taupes colors and browns, and again that like lovely, there's a crystal here that's called Metallic Sunshine that's just so sparkly and pretty. She is just all the beautiful colors of fall, but again more kind of elevated, I think, and just really fun to use. So I'm going to tip the camera back up and show you some great designs and ways to use these, because like I said, they come in a little package, and that way you have the color mix already together whenever you want it or want to use it for your designs. So let me show you the different ways that I use it. So it can be used just like the strand that I've just made, and I'll show that a little bit more soon. So you can be used for like the body of the piece. This little crystal coins bracelet that I made a while ago, right, just uses more of that pink story. It's got a lovely, come on. It just uses those crystals, right, in that beautiful pinks and opals and rosy colors. It's just using the crystals on either side of the coin. The great thing about the palette being all crystals is that because each bead is machine made, the holes are large enough where you don't have to worry about having the right size head pin or wire. It's going to fit just about any size through there. So that's different than when you're using pearls or gemstones. This is that same crystal coins, but it's really tiny because this is the one I did for the tutorial video. But it's the blue palette and gold. I wish I'd finished it because it's just going to be, it's so gorgeous. And let me show you another piece. So this is our Silken Sparkle necklace that is 2 strands of silk and then like three chain strands, and the crystals are knotted on the silk, right, if I pull them away. But what's great about this, right, it's very neutral, but this is a great way to use those palettes because you're just, all the colors work together, but they're all just a little bit different, and so it's this beautiful kind of subtle color way for a piece that's, again, very kind of wearable, very neutral. I just think it's stunning. So this has a mix of the pinks and blues in there as well. Let's see. So that's kind of one way, it's just stringing it. Another thing you can do is to wire wrap them, right? So something like this little earring, that champagne and cashmere palette, like these crystals are just wire wrapped, right, there's the back of it, all the way around that component, right? So it creates a little more interest than just like the same color. It's a beautiful color story, and then you could do the drop in the middle or not, but those are just wire wrapped right on, to that component. And so that's just a really great way to use them. You can also link them like you would a chain and do earrings. Look how cute these are. So you could just link the crystals together. I've got it mixed in with some pearls here. And dangle that, and that could be a necklace or a bracelet too, but it can make a really cute little earring. And when you wire wrap them and link them together, you really get a lot of mileage out of it. But probably the most common way that I use it is in little clusters, when I need a little accent crystal in clusters. And let me show you. So just going to wire wrap. And again, this is a little leather lariat, but to make the lariat, I wire wrapped it here and here, and then and then I've added a few little accent crystals there and on the bottom, right? So you wire wrap that, and then you can kind of add the embellishment of these little crystals. And the color palette, again, is already mixed, and so I'm just adding a little zhuzh there. And then another way to do the little cluster is just to put it on head pins as little dangles. So on this bracelet, this is not really so much a cluster, I guess, but this is our Queen of Hearts bracelet, and it's so cute with the like woven chains and leather, but it has little dangles of the crystals in there, see, off the head pins throughout the whole thing. And it's not many. I think there's like 10 on here in that little blue story, right? The package has over 200 crystals in there. So on these little embellishments, you're only using like a little teeny handful, but that just added a little something extra to this bracelet. So I'm just grabbing some earrings. So I'll put them on the crystals on head pins. You can use a ball head pin or not, but something like here's a little ball head pin, right? And it's just putting the crystals on them and making a loop at the top. And because they're crystals, you can do a larger head pin, and you don't have to do a wire wrap loop. You can do a basic loop. Sorry, I'm just trying to grab it, right? And then when you do the basic loops, boop, there's a little crystal on the, let me get a darker color, on the ball head pin. But that way, when you do little basic loops, right, it's just a little basic loop. And if you don't know how to do these, I have plenty of videos that show them. Try to get it up there. It's a little ball head pin. But when you make the basic loops, you can open and close them several times. So it's unlike a wire wrap loop, where once you've wire wrapped it on there, you can't open it or move it around again. But again, because they're crystal, you can use a thicker head pin, which allows you just to do a basic loop, which you can open and close it, move it around however you like. So at the top of this earring, I have a little cluster of crystals I'm going to dangle, or hanging off here, I guess. Right, this is our little dragonfly. Right, so right at the top, where the chains come together to the ear wire, you could just leave it, but I can add 2 or 3 little crystals that just, I think, make it really special. And especially if you have a little jump ring or something up there, or you've wire wrapped it, these little dangles can kind of hide that, which I think is super cute. This is our little starfish earring, where I've done the same thing. A couple little, so it's just the component, and then a couple little pearls and crystals dangled right off the ear wire at the top, just to make these little clusters. It's just a cute way to kind of top them off. And you can do the same thing with the pendant, right? This is our Tree of Life necklace, and again, where the pendant could have just wire wrapped right from the chain, but I chose to do a little cluster of crystals and pearls right above her to kind of decorate that. It's just another way to embellish it. So there's tons of little fun ways where I'm always needing or adding these little clusters of crystals all the time. Here's another one. Now this was mostly pearls, but look how cute that is. But it's the same idea. You can still make your little cluster of whatever you want inside that pendant. So it's just a lot of fun ways, and having those already mixed colors on hand for when you want to use them. And like I kind of mentioned before, I'll say again quickly, the packages of them, right, look just like I showed you before. And they have over 200 crystals in them. And I don't just like scoop them and put them on a scale or anything. I count them one by one and make sure that each palette, each mix has the right ratio of sizes, shapes, and colors, so that when you get it, you're like, wow, that's fabulous. They retail anywhere between $20 and $24, and which each one probably has 20 to 30 different crystals. So if you had to go out and buy 20 or 30 strands to try to make that same palette, it would cost you well over $100. So this is our Fall Fantasy, our special seasonal color. I just love her. She's so pretty. Gorgeous, gorgeous. But what I was going to say is, so these are strung about 30 inches or so. And again, this is one palette. And I like it so you can do the wrap bracelet the way I had that before. If you use a statement toggle, the way I have used that little flower toggle, that's really pretty for a bracelet. But of course, you can also wear it then for a necklace. So if you're going to do this in a necklace, you want to make sure the T bar is at the top so that it's weight down. And if it was a round toggle, you could put it in the center. But this one's a little flower, so I could put it off to the side. See, now the camera's taller than me. Right, but look how cute that is. Sorry, I'm trying to be taller. But right, that's so cute. And you could layer it up. It's cute layered with my chains here. But right, it's lovely as a necklace and as a bracelet. So you make this really cool necklace bracelet combo thing if you want to, which I think is really, really fun. So I will link thank you for hanging out with me. I'm just right on time, just about. Wanted to do about 20 minutes. I will link everything below, the kits. And again, this one's seasonal, so depending on when you watch it, I am also offering a Zoom class, a live class, to show how to string these. And so you can opt to purchase the stringing kit, which includes the bracelet, the clasp, the statement clasp, the beadle-on, the crimps, the covers. This is done with a French wire finish, right? We call it a professional finish, right? So we've done a French wire finish and a crimp cover, and then I do a couple little dangles again off the head pin. So the bracelet stringing kit includes the string, the crimps, the covers, the French wire, the head pins, the few little spacer beads in there, and all of it. And so you can sign up to join me to string this with me on Saturday, November 13th. So again, depending on when you watch this. But if it's past that time and the class isn't offered yet, still check the website, because we're putting a lot of our classes on video that will be available on our website that you could just download or purchase. And stringing something random or organically seems like, well, that's easy, I'll just string it all together. But it really just take a little bit of skills to get it to, and definitely some little hacks and tricks to get it to be completely balanced with all the different shapes, sizes, colors throughout the entire strand. And so while the class is going to focus on doing that professional finish, it's mostly going to be about stringing organically and random in a purposeful way to make it look polished and finished, if that makes sense. So again, I'll leave all the links below, and that is it. And I hope you'll consider subscribing. I will have new color stories coming out all the time, and new designs, of course, coming out, and new ways to use them, and more classes and all that stuff. We have a great membership where classes are free, and I will leave, again, links below to check out all that stuff. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope, if nothing else, this gave you some great ideas and inspiration for ways that you can embellish and use some little fun clusters here and there to zhuzh up your jewelry making. So until next time, please sparkle brightly like the star that you are.